If you thought the UFC was already the biggest game in town, think again. Because the fight world is about to enter an entirely new era. A record-breaking $7.7 billion deal with Paramount and CBS is shattering the old pay-per-view model. The middleweight division is about to be rocked at UFC 319. Conor McGregor might be plotting the ultimate comeback, Dana White is teasing a fight card at the White House, and Alex Pereira is making a bold leap into Hollywood. Trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to understand why 2026 could be the wildest year in UFC history. UFC's $7.7 billion Paramount deal. This is the kind of move that changes the sport forever. Paramount, newly powered by its merger with Skydance Media, has signed a 7-year, $7.7 billion deal for exclusive US rights to the UFC starting in 2026. Here's what that means for fans. The old days of paying $80 to $100 for a single UFC pay-per-view are basically over, at least for most fights. Instead, all 13 major numbered events and 30 fight night cards each year will be available through a single Paramount Plus subscription at no extra cost. Huge cards, premium fight nights, all included. And here's the kicker. Some of the biggest title fights will air completely free on CBS, giving the UFC its widest reach in mainstream US television history. Dana White calls it the most fan-friendly deal in fight history, and he's probably right. The UFC isn't just cashing in. They're doubling their yearly broadcast revenue compared to the ESPN deal, averaging $1 billion per year. That puts the UFC in the same money league as the NFL, NBA, and MLB in terms of broadcast rights. For fighters, this could mean more exposure, bigger sponsorship deals, and potentially better paydays. And for the sport itself, this is how you create the next wave of global combat sports superstars.
You know, I'm happy to be in business with the Ellisons, obviously very smart, very aggressive guys. And, you know, when you think about what I always used to dream of was a day when everybody on the planet could watch the same fight at the same time on the same channel. And now the streaming is becoming a massive reality. You know, it's getting closer. And I love, you know, what these guys are doing. And now think about this, the pay-per-view model.
UFC 319, du Plessis versus Chimaev. While all this is happening behind the scenes, the Octagon is about to host one of its most dangerous middleweight title fights ever. UFC 319 in Chicago sees champ Dricus du Plessis defend his belt against the undefeated wrecking ball that is Khamzat Chimaev. Du Plessis is a proven survivor, with wins over Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland, and Robert Whittaker. He thrives in chaos, absorbing early punishment, then turning the tide with relentless pressure and sneaky striking angles. But Chimaev is another beast entirely. He's undefeated. He's terrifying. He just blitzed Whittaker in 1 round. His wrestling pressure is suffocating. His power is real, and his pace is relentless. Fighters talk about him like he's a storm. You can survive it, or you get swept away. This is a clash of experience and composure versus raw aggression and momentum. Win or lose, the man who walks out of Chicago with that belt could control the middleweight division for years. And here's the thing, once you start imagining the winner against guys like Adesanya or even a future full-weight Khamzat versus Pereira, the possibilities get insane.
Khamzat, you are proven to be a problem for everybody here in the Octagon with. Who would you like to see next when you step into the Octagon?
Everybody. I come in for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the king, get everybody.
McGregor's return, Tease. Now, let's be real. No matter what happens in the UFC, there's one man who can instantly dominate the headlines. Conor McGregor. After a long silence following his withdrawal from the Michael Chandler fight, McGregor broke the internet by posting a rare message, congratulating Dana White on the Paramount deal, reminding the world he's still the sport's #1 draw, and just hinting that he might have a role to play in this new era. McGregor's comeback timing would be perfect. The Paramount Plus debut needs a global headliner. Conor's injury seems to be behind him, judging by his training clips. And if he fights as the face of this new, more accessible UFC, we could see viewership numbers that rival his biggest PPV events. Except this time, millions won't have to pay big money to watch. Who would he fight? Chandler's still an option. Jorge Masvidal has shown interest. And if the UFC really wants to shake things up, well, we've learned to never rule anything out with Conor.
Oh, mate, it's just boring. It's just so boring. I don't even have a comment on it. It's boring as hell. Don't want to talk about it. It has spent 0 seconds in my mind.
Okay.
That's it. I'm not interested, mate. Not interested, and the world shouldn't be interested either. Because what's the point? It's just false hope. It doesn't not interest me, but it doesn't really interest me. To be honest, I'm not really fussed where I fight. I'll fight anyway. It doesn't really bother me. It'd be a cool experience, but I'm not like. I feel like the Americans should get the shot at the White House.
Sure.
I'm not American. Trump and the political stance in America doesn't really bother me at all, to be honest. So,
White House fight rumor. Speaking of things you wouldn't expect, Dana White has casually thrown out the most bizarre fight venue idea ever, the White House lawn. Yeah, you heard that right. Timed for July 4th, 2026, America's 250th birthday, the event could, hypothetically, feature Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. Now, if that doesn't sound like the ultimate clash of eras, I don't know what does. But let's pump the brakes. Aspinall made it clear. He's focused on Cyril Gane at UFC 321. And until there's a contract on the table, this is just a crazy idea floating in Dana's head. Still, picture it. An octagon set up in the middle of the most famous lawn in America, fireworks overhead, and a heavyweight title fight broadcast globally. Even as a rumor, it's given the UFC another wave of headlines, and that's exactly why Dana tosses these ideas out there.
On the 250th birthday of the United States of America, I'm going to put on a fight at the White House, and more than likely, it will air for free on CBS, the network.
Pereira in Hollywood. And then there's Alex Pereira, possibly the scariest striker in the UFC, now stepping straight onto a Hollywood set. He's playing The Butcher, a villain in a 24's upcoming horror action flick Onslaught, directed by Adam Wingard. It's a bold career move, but it's also risky. Just weeks after filming, Pereira has to face Magomed Ankalaev in a rematch at UFC 320. That's a fight he can't take lightly. Ankalaev already beat him by decision once. Now imagine juggling movie stunts by day and fight camp by night. If Pereira can pull it off, he becomes part of that rare group of fighters who succeed in the cage and on the big screen at the same time, crossing over into mainstream stardom. But if Hollywood distracts him from beating Ankalaev, the light heavyweight throne could slip away fast. So here's the rundown. A $7.7 billion Paramount deal that could blow open the sport to millions of new fans. A violent middleweight title fight ready to explode at UFC 319. Conor McGregor setting the stage for a blockbuster return, the most outlandish fight location tease in history, and Alex Pereira chasing glory both in the octagon and under studio lights. We're not just talking about fights anymore. We're talking about the UFC transforming into the kind of year-round entertainment empire that rivals anything in mainstream sports culture. And the way 2026 is shaping up, it's not a question of if it's going to be crazy, it's a question of just how far the UFC is willing to go.